Good evening and welcome to this special Vote 2012 edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Tonight's show is a debate. We will hear from candidates competing in the Republican primary for Arizona's new 9th Congressional District. As with all of Arizona Horizon's debates, this is not a formal exercise. It's an open exchange of ideas, an opportunity for give and take between candidates for one of the state's most important offices. As such, interjections and even interruptions are allowed, provided that all sides get a fair shake, and we will do our best to see that that happens. CD9 is a new congressional district located in Maricopa County. It includes Tempe, Ahwatukee, parts of Phoenix, Chandler, Mesa, Scottsdale, and Paradise Valley. 7 candidates are competing in the CD9 Republican primary. We heard from 3 of the candidates yesterday. Today we meet the remaining 4. They are attorney Lisa Borowski, a member of the Scottsdale City Council; Vernon Parker, a current councilman and former mayor of Paradise Valley; Martin Sepulveda, a business owner and former member of the Chandler City Council; and Wendy Rogers, a small business owner and retired Air Force lieutenant colonel. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening and closing statements. Earlier, we drew numbers to see who goes first, and that honor goes to Lisa Borowski.
Thank you very much. I'm Lisa Borowski. I'm a native of the Valley. I've been a practicing attorney for, a little over 17 years now. When I say that out loud, it sounds like a really long time. I was elected to the Scottsdale City Council 3.5 years ago, and I got into that election because what I saw was overregulation by the City Council on businesses, and I've truly enjoyed representing the citizens of Scottsdale. It's been quite a joy. I've learned firsthand that that government is inclined to grow if it's allowed to, and I feel like my record demonstrates that I've been very, very strong in opposition to increasing taxes and government spending. I'm in this race because I believe government should stay out of business, and we should all be focused on lowering taxes.
All right, thank you very much. And our next opening statement is from Martin Sepulveda.
Well, thanks for hosting us. I'm Martin Sepulveda. I'm running for Congress in District 9 because I live in the district. I was raised here. My family's been part of this community since the 1870s when I homesteaded in Tempe. I graduated from Arizona State University. I met my wife there. We raised our family in Chandler. I started my first business there, and I was elected twice to City Council. I'm also a military guy and a combat vet. I enlisted in the Marine Corps when I was 17. I'm now 52 and a commander in Navy Reserves. I've served in both Afghanistan and Iraq, and my current assignment is with SEAL Team 17 in Coronado. Finally, I'm a small business owner. I've got about 25 years of experience in public and private sector development. I've actually created jobs. I know it works. I believe we've got the experience and leadership necessary to serve Arizona in Congress. I look forward to a nice discussion.
All right, thank you very much. And our next opening statement comes from Wendy Rogers.
It's a real honor to be a part of this forum. I'm Wendy Rogers, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel. I joined the Air Force in 1972 when it was not the popular thing to do. Many of you remember the downturn after the Vietnam War and how unpopular it was to be connected to the military, especially on college campuses. When I was commissioned in 1976, I was one of only 18 individuals from a campus with 60,000 students. If you recall, it was not an easy thing to do to walk across a college campus in a military uniform. I carry that legacy of service. I'm a 5th-generation military officer. My father was before me and my son after me, and I will continue to serve this district.
All right, thank you very much. And our final opening statement comes from Vernon Parker.
Thank you so much. You know, my grandmother, she raised me, and she raised me in an area that was replete with drugs, gangs, and violence. The famed rapper Snoop Dogg, he lived right around the corner, but she taught me something very valuable. She taught me the American dream, that you can be whatever you want to be. And when I served as a special assistant to President George H.W. Bush in the White House, to her, that was the American dream. When I was unanimously confirmed by the United States Senate as an assistant secretary, to her, that was the American dream. And when I served as the mayor of the great town of Paradise Valley, to her, that was the American dream. And when I was accepted into Georgetown University's law school at 75 years of age, She cleaned houses to help get me through because to her, that was the American dream. And I am running today to restore that American dream, to make sure that my child and your children have that same American dream, that they can be whatever they want to be, regardless of race, color, creed, whatever.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and get this started. I'm not going to ask why you want to run for this particular position and why you are running and why you think you would be the best. Actually, I do want to ask that. Why do you think you would be the best? Why you, not them?
Well, I feel compelled to do this. The exercise representing the citizens of Scottsdale has really taught me that it's tough to make those decisions, to cut spending, to cut where programs aren't necessary, to make those necessary cuts. I feel like, you know, that is absolutely necessary in Washington right now. And you said in your opening that this was a very critical race. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's one of the most critical in the country. I think that, you know, Arizona, we really need to maintain this seat especially and move forward.
Why should Republican voters vote for you as opposed to anyone else at this table?
Well, I think we all have our hearts in this race. I was born and raised here. My family's been here for many years. I've had the fortune of actually being in construction and development for all my professional career. On the flip side, I've been all over the world as a military officer. So I think when you go overseas and you think how bad things can get, you can't wait to get home to see how good you can make it. So certainly the time I served in the Chandler City Council, it was invaluable. You know, at that time, Chandler was the fastest growing city in the nation, several years running. So we did some unique things in business development. We didn't create jobs, we facilitate jobs. But we engaged the private sector. We actually asked them what they needed. We tried to do most of that, and we got out of the way. So I think the very common sense solutions to growing the economy is something I bring to the table. I've got some experience doing that.
Okay, Wendy, why you and not them?
I'm a leader. I'm a pioneer. I'm a trailblazer. I was one of the first 100 women pilots in the United States Air Force at a time when very few women were even in the officer ranks. I've had the experience abroad. I've been overseas clearly half of my 20-year career. I meet a payroll for 14 employees in the district every day. I'm down in the weeds dealing with taxation, regulation, overbearing government. So because I'm a leader and a trailblazer and can get things done when people say they can't be done, and I have a proven track record of having done that, I am the strongest.
Why you and not the others here?
Well, it's very simple. It's called experience. I have served as a special assistant to the President of the United States. I've served as a general counsel of the federal department. To me, working in Congress would not be a big deal. It would not be to say that I am a member of Congress, because I have testified before Congress countless times. But the one thing that really, I think, sets me apart is that when I served as the mayor of Paradise Valley, I cut taxes. I cut spending by 30%. I cut our staff by 29%. When people told me, raise, get to your rainy day fund, use that. And I said, no, it is not raining. We have to make difficult decisions. So I have a track record of making difficult decisions, but the most important thing is my experience. I think that I supersede everyone on the panel with experience.
Okay, you talked about taxes there. Let's keep it at taxes. Grover Norquist has an anti-tax pledge that's made a lot of headlines over the past few years. Is that a good thing? Would you sign such a pledge?
Well, yes, I would. But the biggest thing that we have to realize about taxes is this, is that America has the highest corporate income tax in the world. And what America is doing today, they are taxing and taking. I mean, they are taxing and regulating. We are no longer competitive because we tax, and we regulate to the hilt. You know, when you have the highest corporate income tax in the world, and when you have bureaucrats who are unelected officials who are sitting behind a desk creating regulations to say that they are going to stifle the growth of small business, guess what? All the jobs are leaving America. They're going to China, they're going to India, they're going to Canada, they're going to Mexico, and we must do the right thing by bringing jobs back to America, by cutting taxes and getting rid of regulations that stifle the growth of business. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No,
Okay.
that's a good. Again, but the Grover Norquist anti-tax pledge, good thing? Would you sign it?
I think it's a good thing because it starts the conversation. It starts the conversation to focus on the fact that the individual income tax rate is too high for a small business owner like me. It needs to go to a corporate income tax rate, as the Ryan plan suggests. Right now, as an S corporation owner, I am taxed at an individual rate. That crushes my capability to create more jobs than the 14 employees whom I hire right now and have on staff. And it is not helping all boats rise. Taxation snuffs out small business owners like me. Those of us are, most employees work for small business. 70% of Americans' employees work for small business.
And 90% of the small businesses and 90% of the business in the state of Arizona, small business. So I sympathize with you on that one, Wendy. Absolutely.
We just heard starting the conversation. Some would argue that such a pledge ends a conversation. Would you sign it?
No, I'm not going to sign it. I think it's a good idea, though, but I've got a public record that matters. I've already cut taxes. I've balanced budgets. We've had cash reserves. I think for those people who haven't had public office and had the ability to do that, that might not be a bad thing for them to do. But certainly it's a good place to start. But again, you know, we're not the highest tax rate in the world. We're close. 35% is still too high. It's not competitive. That's the bottom line. You know, recently we had a job creation
Who's the highest,
plan.
Martin? Which one's the highest?
It's not 35% is
I know,
not
but
the
which one-
highest.
Yeah, but which one is the highest? Just out of
35% is not the highest tax rate in the world. But the bottom line, we're still not competitive. And
Right,
that's
I agree,
it. We
Mark.
have to get
Thank you.
competitive.
Anti-tax pledge. Would you sign such a thing?
Not as I sit here today. I'm opposed to tax increases, of course, and I think my record demonstrates that I really have a strong push for that during my work on Scottsdale City Council. I think, you know, when people are campaigning, it's kind of one of those inside baseball, you know, questions. Would you sign this? And it sounds good. It's gimmicky. I think that, you know, signing something that says you won't raise taxes. But then what happens when you get the job, when you get inside and you don't know what's going to happen. In my opinion, and this is what is true, I think, at any level of government, you have to evaluate issues as they come before you. You have to investigate. To be closed-minded and shortcut a decision before it unfolds before you, I think you're getting into some trouble there. Restricting yourself.
But Ted, here's the problem. The problem is quite simple. America is losing jobs. Why? Because we are, I mean, it's just not taxation, it is regulation.
Let's stop right there, though, because let's move the conversation back into that direction.
Okay.
Some would say it's lack of consumer demand as opposed to taxation and regulation. Now, how does lack of consumer demand play into what you're talking about?
I really don't believe it's the lack of consumer demand, because I really do believe that jobs are fleeing America. We have issues with Social Security. We have issues with Medicare. We have issues with, because we do not have enough people paying into the tax base, because our jobs are leaving this country. And they're leaving this country because of one reason, two reasons, taxation and regulation. And if we are going to become competitive again, we must get those things under control. In Mexico, Volkswagen is building a facility for $2 billion, and they're going to produce 150,000 cars a year. Why? Because they said that their infrastructure was perfect for the growth. And we need to say in America.
But the other part of that, I think the lack of consumer demand is because people don't have jobs.
Right.
Again, it goes back to growing the tax base, the job base, growing the economy. You know, there's a lot of smart people out there. Simpson Bowles, the Ryan Plan. Those are great programs. They're great. It's a great start. But they don't talk about growing the economy. And part of the way to do that is to lower the corporate tax rate, whether it's through research and development tax credits, capital expenditures, credits for that, or just lower it. 35% is way too high. We need to lower it and expand the job base and create that consumer demand.
Again, get on this, the idea, again, that taxation and regulation is more of a factor on a business like yours than lack of demand.
I do feel that, absolutely. I have to have so many insurance policies in place just to do business as a home inspection business. I have to have so many attorneys in place because of the risk of being sued. And back to your question, why is there a lack of consumer demand? I think there's a tentativeness on the part of all Americans because of the malaise in the economy. And I feel, and I see it in my business every day, there is a lack of willingness to purchase. There is a lack of willingness to commit on the consumer's part as well as the small business owner's part. And it's all interrelated.
She's so right, because
Hold on for just a second. I want to make sure Lisa gets to say
No,
it.
it's okay. On top of what's already been said, I think, businesses that are here and thriving, the restrictions and just the hoops that you have to jump through with the federal government to expand your business, for example. My family has owned the Arizona Snowball, and I'm sure you're familiar with the saga up there of trying to make snow. It's been going on for 7-8 years. Spent millions of dollars on attorneys' fees, lost millions of dollars on in the delay, and the Obama administration just indulges the liberal activists who want to stop progress at any level. Those are jobs that were lost. That's revenue to a city, in our state, and so just less regulation is really
Probably
important.
the overarching issue, whether it's on the corporate side, the job creators, or the consumers, it's economic uncertainty. That's killing everything.
absolutely.
All right.
That was my point, is that investors will not invest when there is uncertainty. And so in order to get stability, we have to have a tax structure that is competitive, and we have to have a regulatory system that is not destructive.
Let's keep it moving here. I want to talk about the idea of a reasonable limitation on owning weapons. Is there such a limitation?
I am a strong proponent on the Second Amendment as written. I have my own CCW permit. I have my own weapon, as does each member of my family. I think that the Constitution and the Second Amendment is as written, as it should be today, as it was when it was originally written.
No limits on the rights to bear arms?
No.
No limit on the right to bear arms?
I would say no. I think that criminals, the people that really, we want to keep weapons out of their hands, they have easy access to them, and I think that, citizens of the United States should be entitled to bear arms.
Assault weapons, high-capacity mags, drums, belts, the whole 9 yards, no limits?
The assault weapons are not the killers in our society. It's the people who shoot them. And so I really do believe that we must protect the Second Amendment rights of all American citizens.
What do you think?
Absolutely. I would defend the Second Amendment to my dying breath, as corny as that sounds. But the bottom line is, bad people are going to do bad things. Okay, let's talk about the financial industry. Let's get away from, tragic things happen with guns. There's a lot of laws out there, but if someone wants to do something bad, they're going to find a way around those laws and do bad things. So as far as Second Amendment, it's very clear to me, and I wouldn't advocate in even going down that road as far as saying this weapon's good, this weapon's not good. We don't serve ourselves.
The idea of illegal immigration, would you support the DREAM Act?
Well, the first thing that you said was illegal immigration, okay?
Yes.
The first word is illegal. So we cannot pick and choose which laws we enforce in America. For example, if I said, I don't like stop lines, I'm just going to drive through them. And so death and destruction will occur. But the bottom line is this, is that we have a process, and we cannot trying to find the right word here, Ted, I'm sorry.
Okay, what I'm hearing is, no, you would not support the
Right,
DREAM
but
Act.
the bottom line is this, is that we cannot reward bad behavior. And we have a lot of people who come to this country, and they come here legally, and they go through the process. And so we have to stand firm and say that we have to enforce the laws of this country, and we cannot pick and choose which laws are good and which laws are bad.
Even picking and choosing people who came here as children.
Agreed. I agree with Vernon that we cannot pick and choose what laws we enforce. How do we document when they really did come here? I think it's a specious approach. And I would also add that it's absolutely imperative to enforce the law you have. And that means secure the border and frame it, as I do, as a national security issue in terms of the border. And I have been on record as one who is concerned about two things with regard to the border, and that is the possibility of the porousness of the border allowing a nuclear weapon to walk across, and the second concern I have is the jihadists allying with Mexican drug cartels.
The idea of the DREAM Act. Support, not support?
I don't support it, and I'll tell you why. It's a little more practical than what's been said. You know, to have a window where people can stay here legally that have come here illegally, it's unrealistic. I mean, this time 3, 4, 5 years from now, we'll still be extending that window, would be my prediction. And so then, why do we even have an immigration system? Why not just, you know, let everyone come here illegally? So I would be against that, because I think it's unrealistic to say that that would be shut down at the end of that time period.
DREAM Act.
No, I don't support it. You know, when President Obama was running for presidency, he said in the first 90 days he would address immigration. He didn't do that. So now he's talking about the DREAM Act. Now he's talking about the executive order. 16 to 30-year-olds get this 2-year exemption. It's pandering, and it's offensive. It's broken. We need to fix it. And the DREAM Act and other executive orders that may come down the pike, they're just a Band-Aid applied to a gushing headwind. It's not going to work.
Okay, we have
one more thing about
Okay.
the border is this: is that I've seen the death, I've seen the destruction of what drugs can do, and we never talk about securing the border because drugs come into this country so rapidly, and America is the only country where, when we defend our border, that we are criticized for it. So we
Last question here, piggybacking on what you said, and piggybacking on what you said, real quickly now, because we're running out of time. What does a secure border look like? Define it.
A secure border is a border where we know who is coming across. We can interdict if necessary, and we can control the flow.
Is that kind of a thing viable?
Absolutely. You know, in Afghanistan, Iraq, where in both those theaters of war, we secured the border. The military secured the border. We knew who was coming in and out, and we did what we needed to do to those people.
Can we realistically secure the border? What does that mean?
I think it's really difficult. I'm just going to be completely candid. I think there's not a fence too high to climb. I think that there's, you know, where there's a will, there's a way, and there's been a proven will. So we have to do something. We need complete reform and enforcement.
Sure, it's not just a fence.
And last
We
word
have
to
to
you.
try, because I tell you, it is a national security risk. We see human trafficking, and we see drugs. We must do everything that we can to secure the border.
And we must stop it right there, because it's time now to give each candidate a 1-minute closing statement. And going in reverse order of the opening statements, we start with Vernon Parker.
So the adage, the first shall be last and the last shall be first, is taking place here. Thank you so much. This was a great dialogue, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to the citizens in CD9. I have an 18-year-old son, and this is not the same country that I inherited. This is not the same country where my grandmother told me that you can be whatever you want to be. We have a president and a Congress that is destroying this country, and I am fighting today to help restore the American dream. And that American dream is that you can be whoever you want to be, and as long as you work as hard as you would like to work. I've been endorsed by President George H.W. Bush, Jerry Colangelo, Ken Kendrick, Hugh Holman, the mayor of Tempe, quite a few really good people. But I'm asking you tonight for your endorsement. I would like to serve and help restore the faith in America. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And our next closing statement, I should say, Wendy Rogers.
It's an honor to be here tonight. I will represent you in CD9. It will be my chance to serve again as your Congresswoman. I made a promise to my father in February of this year, as he lay passing away, that I would fight for this country as he did in World War II as a 4th-generation military officer, and I as a 5th generation. I meet a payroll every day. I'm proud of that. Where else than in America could we see a legacy of service served by a woman in this country? No one works harder than I do. I ask for your vote. I ask you to come to my website, wendyrogers.org, and help serve together. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And for our next closing statement, Martin Sepulveda.
Well, thank you. It has been an honor being here this evening. We can say this election is about the economy, but it's about people. How we come together as Americans, our family, our friends, our neighbors, and get past this crisis. Whether or not we really believe that the federal government has grown too big, too costly, and is too ineffective. There's a lot of choices in this race, various degrees and types of experience, but this is where the public record matters. Congress is no place for on-the-job training. Balancing budgets, lowering taxes, creating jobs, those aren't just sound bites to me. I've done those things. I believe that the 2 terms I served in the Chandler City Council, the 25 years of business development experience I've got, and the over 30 years of military leadership I've learned are valuable in creating the type of congressional district and representation we need. I appreciate your time, and I would ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for our final closing statement, we go to Lisa Borowski.
Thank you. Thank you for watching tonight and for listening to what we've had to say, I've had to say. I believe that we have an opportunity here. I should have mentioned I have a 7-year-old little girl in my opening, so I want to make sure I include that in the closing. And her future really depends on how we move forward as a country. I think that it's just absolutely critical to get the country back focused on what's important on private business and private growth, private sector growth. I invite you to send your comments to me. My website is borowskiforcongress.com. I'm also on Facebook, and so I'd like to hear what you have to say. I'm in this race with a lot of nice people. I agree that experience definitely matters, and I have that. We've worked really hard to balance our budget and to rein in spending at the City of Scottsdale, and I'm proud of that record. Thank you.
And we have to stop you right there. Thank you. Thank you, candidates, and thank you for watching this special Vote 2012 debate featuring Republican candidates for Arizona's new 9th Congressional District. Now remember, 7 Republicans are in this race. You heard from 4 of them tonight. The other 3 debated last night on the show, and you'll find video of both Arizona Horizon debates and a variety of other election resources on our Vote 2012 website, azpbs.org/vote2012. That address again, azpbs.org/vote2012. We'll be hosting more primary debates in the coming weeks right here on Arizona Horizon. On August 7th, meet the Democrats running for Congress in District 9. And on August 15th, we'll host a debate with the Republican candidates for Arizona's 4th Congressional District. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.